Welcome inside TCO Studios. I'm Tatum Everett, and this is Pick 6 presented by KFAN. We've got players and experts answering your fan questions surrounding the 10-2 Minnesota Vikings. And we're starting this one off with a bang as we caught up with Justin Jefferson to go first here on Pick 6. Ashley H. in Massachusetts wants to know, what is your favorite hype-up song for game day? Let's hear it, JJ.
Ashley, my favorite hype song on game day would probably be Change Me by Big X the Plug. So, you know what I'm saying? If you wanna turn that on and listen to that on game day, you know what I'm listening to.
Thanks, JJ. Gonna have to add that one to my playlist. Our second question is also a question for a player. Tammy G in Elko New Market asks, what's your game day routine? Are you superstitious about your routines? We found Vikings cornerback Shaquill Griffin to answer this one.
Over the years, Tammy, I definitely have been superstitious. Kind of changed a little bit because of things I had to adapt to. But my routine is, depends on if it's an early or night game, so let's go early. Early game would be get up in the morning, always go home, help get the kids situated, fed. Then I'll eat. My meal probably something between spaghetti, and then I'm the type of guy that I drizzle honey on top. Makes it a little sweet, but it also helps with cramps. Should try it out. And then leading up to the game, I listen to a lot of R&B music. A lot of it. People might do a lot of hip hop or something that get them really turned. I like to be really subtle, calm, collected. So a lot of R&B music. And then I'm ready to tear someone's head off. Yep, that's the routine.
Well, that honey on spaghetti seems to be working as Shaq just notched his second interception of the season, this time that game-sealing one on Sunday against the Cardinals. Time now for question number 3. It's from Aiden in Bloomington. He asks, what's the most stressful part of the week as a player or as a coach? We decided to ask someone who's been both a player and coach. Take it away, Pete Bercich.
Aiden, thank you very much for your question. So what is the most stressful part of the week for a player and a coach? Well, for a player, and I'll say this with an asterisk, Monday, watching film. That is the most stressful part of the week for a player, believe it or not, because you're sitting in a room with all your peers and you're watching every single snap of every single play. And if you screwed something up, you're going to get called out by your coach in front of all of your teammates and everybody else. And throughout a game, you'll make a play, you'll do something, and then you're going to stand up and go, oh my God, that's going to look horrible on tape. So the asterisk is my first start in the NFL was in Detroit in around 1995, and they had a guy named Barry Sanders as running back. So I think that was maybe the most stressful night, was the night before that game as a player. But watching film is always bad. As a coach, game day by far is the most stressful day. Why? Because as a coach, you're not really in control of your own destiny as far as wins and losses go. You depend on everybody around you, and you have to make calls. If you're up in the booth and you're the guy that has to make a decision about a call on a red flag, you've got a split second to make that. Every decision you make as a coach is going to affect the game, and then you depend on all the other coaches to make great decisions as well, so you're not completely in control of your own destiny. That's the most stressful part about being a coach. Game day, no question. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Now, there have been many a critic who has doubted this Minnesota Vikings team, didn't even think they could get to 10 wins. However, they are proving them all wrong. So that's why this next question is such a good one. What is the national perspective of the Vikings? And who better to ask this to than to ESPN reporter Courtney Cronin?
The national perspective of the Minnesota Vikings is that they're in this good to great territory in the NFC. I think that there's one team that's head and shoulders above everybody else. else, not only in the NFC, but in the NFL, period, and that's the Detroit Lions. And then you have this next group, which is the Washington Commanders, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Vikings, and the Packers. Given where the Vikings were expected to be this year, because there was so much uncertainty at the quarterback position, I think that they've far exceeded expectations, and nationally, that's kind of the rhetoric that we talk about with a quarterback who was in the right fit, who was able to revitalize his career with Kevin O'Connell as his play caller, and then a defense that by every metric is one of the best in the NFL and continues to grow now a couple years into Brian Flores' tenure.
Thank you, Courtney. It is pretty wild that 3 of the best teams in the NFC are all in the NFC North. And to all you boo-hooers who are like, oh, the Vikings will be last in the NFC North, you're obviously wrong this season. And we're loving that. That actually leads us to our next question, shockingly. It's from Mike in Oregon, and he asks, have we realistically overachieved this season, or can we be a dark horse that makes some noise? Let's get our friend Paul Meat Sauce Lambert from KFAN's The Power Trip Morning Show to answer this one.
Dear Mike, that's a great question. My answer is I don't think they've overachieved, because I don't think a team that has won as many close games as they have and how good they are in one-score games is not a team that's overachieved. I think they're a good team because bad teams would lose those games. And I think they can make, if you can win 3 games on the road like the Vikings have so far, and they've won 5 straight, 3 of them on the road, I think you could win anywhere. Obviously, I don't care if you're playing bad NFL teams, they're still NFL teams. Winning on the road is the hardest thing to do, and if this Vikings team can't win the division, they're going to have to play out every game on the road. Yes, they can, of course, make some noise in the playoffs.
If you want to hear more from Meat Sauce talking about the Vikings, check out Vikings.com or check out our podcast channel anywhere that you subscribe to listen to your podcasts. We have now reached our final question. This one we'll give to voice of the Vikings, Paul Allen. It's from Isaiah. What is one area of Sam's game that you've seen grown the most since he joined the team? PA?
Isaiah, a wonderful question, and I can't narrow it to just one. So I'm going to go quickly here with 2 things. First and foremost, Sam Darnold's work late in games, like that game at Soldier Field, 6 for 6 in overtime. You know, that's something, the clutch gene is really starting to come out, and to see that at this stage of the season when you desperately need those late game performances, that's been fantastic. Secondly, you know, back to that Jacksonville game when Sam threw those interceptions, all of the interceptions were intended for Justin Jefferson. So from that game through the next few where we are now up to this Atlanta game, he's not forcing the ball to Justin and recognizing if Justin is tripled because he's the best in show, then he can put Addison on a 162 or Hawkinson on a 114, 109 second half overtime against the Bears. Aaron Jones will catch the game tying touchdown against Arizona. So spreading the wealth because 18 is covered. That's been great to see.
I don't know about you, but I didn't realize how tough Sam Darnold was. After the Vikings trailed 19-6 in the third quarter on Sunday, he was 12 of 17 for 156 yards and 2 touchdowns. That led Minnesota to a 10-win season so far. We are so excited about the Falcons coming to US Bank Stadium on Sunday. Be sure to tune into that game at noon on Sunday. And if you want more of Pick 6, tweet at me at Tatum Everett or submit our question form online to get your question on the next show.